Yeah,
It's muted. That's cool.
I'm gonna let people in.
Okay. Do you want me to do anything, or you want me to do you want me to? Yeah. Do you want me to do anything, or do you want me to just be here and pray?
No, I want you to do stuff.
Yeah. Great. Do you need an outline?
I have one, from when I took your name out today. Because I thought.
That was my first clue that I was like, oh, this must be an old outline. And I was like, and my dad was like, you know what? I was like, I don't know.
All right, let's see if this works here.
I have one trash set up for next week.
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Awesome. Carl, will you unmute real quick and say hello so we can see if we can hear you?
Hello. Am I there?
You are there.
All right. What a relief.
Yeah, in case you were wondering all day if you were real.
I always wonder.
We will confirm.
There it is.
Al is doing better with more light.
So do you want to keep it all on?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's not all grainy. So I do this. Oops.
I can control the computer.
It's actually looking pretty good. No, it's kind of grainy. Let's try more lights just for kicks.
Okie. Hi, Al. See you. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Josh. Hi, Judd.
Hi.
Shalom, everyone.
Good Shabbos. Jerry and Barb. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can share the prayer book.
Probably don't need all these, right?
I don't think we're going to need all of
Seems to have forgotten how to find us, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to maybe unplug it and plug it back in. What do you think?
setting or turn up camera lock. So it must be lock, camera lock must be on. I think that right below that, not that, but camera lock and zoom. Maybe that.
There we go.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. They are sweet. Mikdash, Reshanti, Betzoch Am Banachnu, Nevarechya, Be'ara, Be'arolam. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Ve'asuri, Mikdash, Leshamanti, Retocham, Ra'anachnu, Nevarechya, Me'ata, Be'arolam. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you.
Aren't you supposed to be at school?
I'm on fall break.
Okay, yeah, I guess it's all right. I won't alert the authorities that you escaped.
One of the authorities is coming soon.
Oh, okay. Have to alert the other authorities.
Should we send people to breakout rooms?
Yeah,
I think we will. We'll visit here. Folks on Zoom, you can visit in the Zoomagog. We'll maybe do 2 breakout rooms,
Oh, we'll do our breakout room.
and then we'll do our breakout room here.
Perfect.
The 4 of us.
all right.
And we'll,
That would be
we'll
lovely.
reconnect in just a couple minutes. Okay. And we're gonna let in whoever that is. Okay. We'll see everyone in a couple minutes.
So I turned it back to the way it was. Hopefully it'll still find me.
Yeah.
Because I noticed when I did the blackout, if we move the thing, then the blackout moves somewhere else.
Got it.
Anyways,
So now, now
I'm trying to
it's
keep
unlocked.
those cords facing this way just so we remember the.
This doesn't seem to have worked.
But it doesn't find me still.
Are they in
Oh, I have to
breakout
open the
rooms, but you can
rooms.
still see them?
There we go.
I think they're headed to their breakout rooms.
They're gonna-
Yeah, I forgot to press the button. Sorry, everyone.
But the owl doesn't seem to be finding me now either.
You have to have a tech person.
Hey owl,
Yeah, we need a tech person, right?
hey owl, why don't you see me?
I bet you're in the, I wonder if you're in the,
Oh, is this called an owl? Is this
No,
the
does
camera?
Does it look to you?
Yeah, well, look.
It's supposed to find you.
Totally
Looks like an
no.
owl.
That's really impressive.
So this is a camera that kind of
It sees the
picks up
scene.
everybody?
Yeah, it decides who's talking and focuses on them.
That's
I
very
think Judd,
impressive.
Oh.
it keeps on going, the
You
camera
are a
locks.
very
keeps on
smart
going
owl.
on. Try now.
Smart owl.
Hey, can you see me? Owl?
Almost a smart owl.
Almost as
It's an owl that wants to be smart.
The owl has selective hearing,
So-
just like my dog.
Just like
Is
your
it
dog.
locked? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No,
So we haven't met before, have we?
No, we're not even.
I'm gonna
Hey,
just-
owl.
I'm gonna
Judy,
do
Madeline.
this.
Okay,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. So,
I
You want
I
me
try to go
I
to
turned
the
off
rest
that.
of the
Let's try now.
hey, owl.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
back in the pandemic.
Are you okay if I just do that?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Are you from here too? Are you?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, most of the time. We're here. We're here since July or whatever, so, yeah, we have,
Sign
House
here.
here.
We got a bunch of people.
Nice.
coming.
yeah,
Where are you
we love it.
Where are you coming from originally?
Well, originally,
How was your chamber
originally,
mix?
That was good.
so,
Full-
we have
full
family here.
spread.
My son and
Where was it?
daughter-in-law,
Is it the
two
Cowboy Bar?
grandchildren are here.
Oh,
And
lovely.
my son's been.
So
here
is it
for
a cowboy bar?
So,
Or is it your chamber?
So, you know,
It
we
was,
met,
no, it
we
was,
were originally in
the
Syracuse.
chamber
Oh,
mixer
sure.
with the award.
I went to Hamilton
the
College.
awards.
Oh, so there you go.
I know.
And my other,
I was
you know,
there.
like, so
TSS
what
is
brought you to
actually
him?
two awards.
Where did you
And where do
come from?
Who's
I'm
giving
from
the
here.
awards?
Chamber,
Chamber,
yeah,
got it.
so it's not
my-
chamber mixer,
my
it's the
son- so
chamber
we know
annual
Hamilton.
awards.
Probably,
Got
well,
it.
my younger son, not this one here, who lives in Truckee, so two mountain kids, but,
I think everyone's in.
he went to Colgate.
Oh, fun. Oh, so he, so.
And there are people here, not just Josh, who went to Colgate, and I met like a list
Yeah.
of Colgate
Did you go to
people
Colgate
in
too? Yeah, I had
Jackson.
no idea. Hamilton.
She went to Hamilton.
Right down the road,
I know.
which
Very
never,
nice.
never made sense to me why
Why once,
Colgate was in Hamilton and.
I know,
Hamilton,
Hamilton,
Clinton,
Clinton.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not good.
however that is. So
Where's
anyway,
Colgate?
In
um,
Hamilton, New York.
New York?
yeah, tucked away in the hills there, in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah,
and
beautiful country.
there are people in there's like a long list of people in Jackson
Yes.
who have been
Josh and Judd, you guys are muted. We can't hear you.
How about now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, welcome Sherry and Jonathan. Morton Levinson's joined us. Heather and Herschel, we're in Idaho Falls. We got a good old crew who are here. Should we light some candles?
Did you have a good,
What, Sherry?
Nora, I see you
did
now.
you have a good Simchas Torah?
We did. It was awesome because we have a second Torah now as part of our community.
Well,
So
that makes it a lot easier than having to roll back from Devarim to Breshit.
We did it anyways,
Yeah.
just because
You rolled it back, or did you open up the whole Torah?
we opened up the whole Torah.
And you did it in a circle, and then you went around and said what was in it?
More like a snake.
Spiral.
Cool.
Spiral. Yeah.
Cool.
Did you get to celebrate somewhere?
Oh, totally. Jonathan was visiting down here, and we went to the local Reconstructionist shul. And of course, I was allowed to carry a Torah, but it was too heavy. And then they combined it with Shmini Atzeret. They did Yisker at the end, so we got to do Simchas Torah and Yisker at the same place at the same time.
Nice.
And they had a band, so the band was cool. I'm always happy when there are instruments, you know that.
Yeah. Let's bless the children.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So my kids are all coming back from Idaho Falls right now, so I can't bless them in direct engagement. But let's take a moment and just pause, maybe close our eyes and or lower our gaze for a second. And if we do have children or grandchildren, think about where they are in the world. And if we don't have children, think about all the kids in your life that you're helping to raise up with beautiful and important values, and with love and chesed and kindness. And then take a pause and remember that when we say these blessings, we are all children. And so these blessings are for us as well. Turn to page 48. Let's say a blessing over our children and really for all of us. Simcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chi Menashe. May God make you to be like Ephraim and Menashe. Simech Elohim ke'Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May God make you to be like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmarecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha ve'kuneka. Yasa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. May Adonai bless you and watch over you. May Adonai shine upon you and be gracious to you. May Adonai look towards you and grant you peace. Judy, would you light the candles for us?
What page is this on?
It's on page 1.
That makes sense.
There's the
If
candle.
you like, we'll all sing.
Yeah, Judd will lead
I
us.
can't use those. I never learned. Isn't that,
I will help you with that.
isn't that funny?
Cool. Give me a second.
You could like it, and I'll. Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has made us holy with your commandments and commanded us to kindle the Shabbat love. Thank you.
Page 3 on the right hand side. Page 8.
Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lecha kol shom. Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lecha kol shom. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu v'amu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu v'amu. Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lecha kol shom. Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lecha kol shom. Page 11 for the Chadodi.
Coming closer.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, ani Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, ani Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, ani Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat lechu b'necha ki im mekor ha'baracha me'osh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tefila lecha dodi lekra kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. דודי לקראת כלה, אני שבת לקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעומק קומי אורי, אוי אוי, שדברי, נעמוד עלי עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. All stand, and we can face the door as if the Sabbath bride is coming into it. To join us. Shalom, Aseret Mala, Gam Besimcha U'etzlah, Tofen Munei Am Segula, Boi Chala, Boi Chala.
The barcode's on page 16. We can stay standing and face the ark. We're at this transitional moment of our prayer service, and welcome, good to have everyone here. We're at this transitional moment in our prayer service where we've just sang the prayer that is a welcoming, a calling into our prayers. So the beginning is almost a warm-up, and at this moment we say two prayers that lead to the Shema, and the Shema is that central prayer in our service. It's our prayer, essentially saying that there's one God. Right? That there's one God. And the two prayers that lead up to it are one prayer that talks about the beauty of the transition between night and day and night, and the other is a prayer about love. And I think that transition is beautiful, and I have to tell you just a quick story. Last night we extended Sukkot, this holiday that we've been celebrating where we build a sukkah, a booth outside in our homes, and outside of our homes, and my kids would not let us take the sukkah down. We're like 8 days beyond Sukkot, and they would not let us take the sukkah down because they wanted to sleep outside in it. And so last night, we took it down today because the rain is coming and the snow is coming, but last night, for I think it was something like the 12th night in a row, Rebbe, me, and Neely all slept outside in the sukkah.
And I have to tell you, I was thinking about this moment in the service then, because two things were happening. One, I was sleeping right in between two of my daughters, and it was just, the sukkah was filled with love. And right outside, there were two elk. They must have been in the field right next to our house. They were bugling back and forth, and they were crashing antlers. And I have to tell you, at that moment, I understood very intimately this moment in the prayers. This idea that we say these prayers to try to connect to creation, to God's work in creation, the separation of day and night, elk bugling back and forth, whatever it can do to connect us more deeply to God and creation, and to that essence and that feeling of love. That's what leads us into the Shema. Creation and love. Carl, would you read Ma'ariv Aravim to help us hear those beautiful words about the separation of day and night and our focus on creation? It's on page 16.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach she'orim, v'tvuna mishana itim, u'machalif et ha'azmanim, u'msader et ha'kochavim, v'mishmoroteim birakia kirtzono, בורא יום ולילה, כולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו.
חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המאריב אביב.
Eternal love, you have loved the house of Israel, your people. Torah and mitzvot, laws and statutes you taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we arise, we will discuss your laws and rejoice in the words of your Torah and in your mitzvot forever and ever, because they are our life and the length of our days, and on them we will meditate day and night. Never take away your love from us. Blessed are you, Adonai, lover of your people Israel.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ולהם נגיעם בלילה, ועבדך תשים ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני Page 18, ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לראות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. page 20. Laman tizkaru vasitam kol mitzvotai v'etem kedoshim le'elechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etem me'eretz Mitzrayim להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 22. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Amidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Amidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmat tzivteinu u'go'einu l'chaim u'shalom ve'ata ve'adolam. Sometimes I lie beneath them and thank God I'm breathing. I say, please don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I'll drown, but I'll never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for, praying for the people to say, we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Amidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Amidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Uferos aleinu sukkah, shalom alecha. Uferos aleinu Shambu is on page 24. Veshambu b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לטוב בריא כולם. ושמרו Nilven b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדוד ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדוד ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת בי נפש, שבת בי נפש, שבת בי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדוד ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדוד ברית עולם. Amidah starts on page 25. This is a standing prayer where we stand and we face the ark and we sing out loud asking that God will help us make a good prayer. And then we pray from the prayer book or whatever you want to say. Whatever prayer is. What is prayer, Josh? Who are we talking to? Who's calling?
For another Shabbat, I think that's for another Shabbat. I will say that there is like a structure of this. Oftentimes, there's a number of prayers that I've shared this before. There's 3 prayers that start the Amidah, 3 prayers that end it no matter what, and then typically we have petitional prayers. We're asking for stuff in the weekday prayers when we're saying our weekday prayers. But on Shabbat, take a look at the central prayers because it's not about asking for stuff. It's about celebrating Shabbat. And I think there's some deep wisdom in terms of that idea of what is prayer, what might we be doing. The central prayers that we shift into this part of the Amidah for Shabbat aren't petitional. It's about Shabbat. I think there's wisdom in that. I don't know what it is, but I think there's wisdom in that.
We'll meditate on that.
Yeah. Page 25. יהי רצון למפי והיום ליבי לפניך יהי רצון למפי והיום ליבי לפניך. Page 31. Adonai Suli, Adonai Suli, Adonai Suli, Lehuani. Adonai Suli, Adonai Suli, Adonai Suli, Lehuani. Yehei Ulatzon, Lefi. והגיון ליבי לפניך יהי רצון לפי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי אדוני צורי Adonai Suli, Adonai Suli, Adonai Suli, Ve'Roani. Ana, Ena, Ana, Ena. Ana, Ena, Refana, Ana, Ena, Ana, Ena, Ana, Ena, Refana, Ana, Ena, Ana, Ena, Ana, Ena, Refana. So those are the words, Alna, Elna, Refana, Allah. Those are the words that Moses said to God, asking for his sister Miriam to be healed. These are the words that we bring, that we enter into our healing prayer with. And so this is our time in our service that we bring the names of those loved ones who are in need of healing. Sometimes that's physical healing, and sometimes it's emotional healing, and sometimes it's spiritual healing. If we know that they'd be okay with their name being shared, this is our time to share their name with our community, to bring them into this community, and to pray for them together. And before we do that, I always think it's important for us to think about the parts of ourselves that are in need of some healing too. Physical, emotional, spiritual. Make sure we think about that as we say these prayers as well.
Emma Frumkin, Paul Moskowitz, Michael Frumkin,
Paolo Ortiz, Buddha.
Josephine Morgenstern.
My brother-in-law, Chris, GB, Mary Catherine, and Roberto.
Thinking about Maggie Radford, Kendall Peacock, Randy Blasco, Devorah Chai Bat Miriam Mitzidov. Ken Ewing. James Barber.
About 11. Devorah Chai Bat Miriam Tzidov. Thanks. הרופא נשפו עליה ומחבש ליד שפתיו ומונה מספר לכוכבים לחולם שמו תקרא Healer of the broken hearted Binder of the counter of uncountable stars. You know where they are. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Healer of the broken-hearted, finder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who we are. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Carl's going to lead us in a drash tonight from Seattle. So we can turn our attention. I'm going to make him really big on the screen, bigger than he'd be if he was here. There's Al. There's Carl.
Now there'll be too much of a muchness of me. But I'm glad to be back with you. I miss you all, and I enjoyed celebrating our high holidays together. But you know that last Sunday night, the Jewish world celebrated the holiday we call Simchat Torah, which means joy in the Torah. It was special in Jackson because now we're a two Torah community, and that's a double blessing. And we're very happy to have such a deep and venerable book to read. And we read about 5 pages a week, all the Jews in the world, the same pages. We go from the beginning to the middle to the end. And last week, we got to the end, the last page of Torah, the death of Moses. And this week, we turn round again to the beginning, the creation of the world. So this is the time of year that we most strongly we feel most strongly that the end of Torah really does touch the beginning, like the horizon, or the seasons, or the path of the stars. On Simchat Torah, which was Sunday night, you can literally stand in a circle. You did this, and unfold the scroll and hold it and let the last page almost touch the first. In the last paragraph of Deuteronomy, Moses dies. You know, his eyes were undimmed and his spirit was unabated, but he did die. He really did. And having read that on Simchat Torah, you go straight to Genesis 1. That turn from the end to the beginning is the most beautiful thing. First Moses dies and everything is unformed and void, tohu vavohu, unformed and void, but a voice says, let there be light, and there was light. So last year we had death, this year we have creativity. God speaks, God creates. God says to all that breathes, be fruitful and multiply. Adam and Eve eat the fruit. Cain and Abel are born. Cain, a farmer, Abel, a shepherd. And then there are cities, there is art, there is culture. So much defiance and creativity. Defiance and creativity, because there is defiance in all creativity. And at the end of the portion, God is worried. Maybe it was all a mistake, the whole world a mistake, but every artist, even God, has such doubts. The deepest secret of the yearly cycle of reading is that since last week we read about Moses' death, the creativity in this week's portion takes place in the shadow of that death. Moses dies, and the unformed void in Genesis 1 emerges, but it's followed by the creative words, let there be light. We can't think about the death of Moses without anticipating light and new creativity. But we can't think about the new world without recalling death, because death is right behind us in the reading. So an overarching secret of Torah is this linking of death and creativity. You know, you might think they are opposites. You might think they are opposites. As long as I'm alive, I can change the meaning of my life. I can repent, as on Yom Kippur. I can make things new. I can make them right. I am what I will become. That's the essence of creativity. But when I die, well, then my story is written in stone. It stops, comes to an end. I am what I am, nothing more. I am what I am, like a statue. If you think badly of me when I'm alive, I may hope to change your mind. If you think badly of me when I'm dead, well, I'm entirely at your mercy. When I was 10, my grandfather died. He had come from Russia with nothing, a penniless child, unable to read. He worked as a janitor, saved a little, bought a house, flipped it, bought an apartment, flipped it. He made a life. He was on the march. Both my parents loved him. I loved him. And then he died at the age of 60. End of story. End of creativity. I couldn't bear it when I got the news. I missed my grandfather. And beyond that, I couldn't stand the revelation that death was real. You lived, you loved, you were on the march, then you died. No one saw you anymore. You were unseen to the end of time. I said to myself, this can't be. There has to be a silver lining, otherwise it's just too unfair, it's unbearable. Maybe I studied philosophy in college in the hope of finding that silver lining. I wouldn't have said so. I'd have said that philosophy was about freedom, but we never know our real motives. Maybe I studied philosophy to diminish my hatred of death, not fear. I don't think I was afraid, but I hated death too much and wanted to be reconciled to death. So tonight, I'm trying again. In the circle of Torah, Moses dies, that was last week, and a whole new world is created. That's in tonight's reading. And the first thing I want to say is that death and creativity are obviously connected. They may be opposites, but they're beautifully connected. Death evokes creativity. Creativity answers death. In this week's portion, which was my older son's bar mitzvah portion, and Judd was at our synagogue singing 25 years ago, in this week's portion, God tells all living creatures to be fruitful and multiply. I made you, God says, and now you carry forward. You have to be fruitful too. You be fruitful too. But in the garden, Adam and Eve seem not to know how to do it. They don't even know that they're naked. They aren't aware of having bodies. Their sexual education has not progressed well enough to allow them to perform that most ecstatic creative deed. But then they eat the fruit. Suddenly they realize that not everything is good and complete. They are aware of both good and bad, and they're aware of death because God warned them that the fruit would bring death. And they feel in their bones what death is. And they know they are naked and vulnerable, as the story says. That is, they now have awareness of their bodies and their fragility, and they want to start their family really fast. Once out of Eden, they have children. I created a man without an eye, exalts Eve. You're the mother of all life, exalts Adam. But it's awareness of death and incompleteness that makes them want to create like that. After all, if no one died, there'd be no room for our children. We all know that. The old wouldn't move on, the young wouldn't take over. The generations either flow with birth answering death, or everything stops and new life is never needed. And that interpretation of Genesis is at least 2,000 years old. I didn't invent it. I swear it. Plato, that great philosopher of 24 centuries ago, Plato talks about that too, not about the Torah, but about death and creativity. And Plato says that life is so beautiful. Life is so beautiful that we can't bear the thought of death. But in ourselves, we know we're going to die. We feel it in ourselves. And this drives us to beget a new generation, children who outlive us. And it's death that drives all creative work, as Plato says, to cultivate land, as Abel does in our portion, to domesticate animals, as Cain does in our portion, to build cities, to sing, to make things of bronze and brick. all that happens in our portion, because all such creativity is driven, Plato would say, by the knowledge in our bones that death will come. We have to leave something behind, and we will do it. That drive is our deepest knowledge of death. It answers the question of death. That drive, which starts with romance and begetting and mutates into science, art, and mysticism, that drive needed death to evoke it. You know, Plato had no children. Plato had no children. His creativity was political and spiritual. But for Plato, all creativity is one, from the breeding of beasts to the highest human achievements, secret and overt. The sense of mortality evokes it, which is why it's so right that after Moses' death comes the world's creation. But there's something else I have to tell you about. People who are very mystical, very meditative, take a further step, which is daunting, challenging. They enter into themselves. They sense death coming. They feel it drive them to live fruitfully, as we all do. But they also feel that death itself may actually merge with creativity, really, finally be one with it. We die as Moses dies on the last page of Torah, and we encounter the unformed void on the first page of Torah, and we hear the voice that says, "Let there be light." And that voice reminds us of our own true voice. Of course it does, because God is in us, in each of us. We could not settle into the world if the creator of the world did not work through us. I'll read the first words of Torah, the first words of tonight's portion, which Joshua Clayman will be teaching us at the Torah study tomorrow. Listen, just a few lines. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. Now the earth was astonishingly empty, and there was darkness on the face of the deep. And the breath of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. The Kabbalists say that those lines and those that follow are nothing if not a guide to meditation. Obviously, Genesis 1 is not a scientific history of the cosmos. It's just a meditation, a poem to guide meditation. It's what all our mystics go through when they sit down for an hour and turn inward and try to understand who and what they are in their depths. God says, "Let there be light." But of course, it's in our minds that we perceive light. Our brains, our perceptual systems help to generate, help to create the most dazzling light we'll ever see. Otherwise, we wouldn't see it. The brightness of the sun is not just outside us, but within. We share in the work that makes it manifest. Look, I'm a really clumsy meditator and I can't say much about it. Little children do it better than I do. It's frustrating. Little children can do this better than I can. I'm lucky just to read Plato and Torah and the Book of Tao and Shakespeare and a few other masterpieces. That's basically what I do. And I know, we all know, that the human ego is so resentful of death that it invents crazy stories to assuage its wounded narcissism. But I've studied Plato and Torah and the others well enough to know that the experience behind them isn't based on resentment or fear. It's based on courage and high insight. They all unite death with creativity. The unformed void of death conspires with and finally evokes and merges with the voice that says, "Let there be light." And that voice could be your voice and my voice and all our voices together, because how would God speak if not through all of us? Of course, I'm not sure of these things because death really is unknown. It's unknowability in itself. But death certainly isn't hopeless. It's not hopeless by any means. I can promise you that. Shabbat Shalom.
Carl,
Yeah.
no substance. Nothing really meaty to chew on or anything. Sorry about that, you guys. Ladies on page 41, let's rise.
The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 44. This is where we have a chance to remember those loved ones who have died. And what I'll ask is that if you are in a period of mourning, if you are remembering a loved one who has recently died, if you are commemorating a yard site, if you are commemorating the anniversary of the passing of a loved one, or if you are just thinking about someone who is not with us anymore, that we create space for you to share the name of that loved one with us, and then we'll say the Mourner's Kaddish together. From our community, Bill Bellis, Bob Berlin, Todd Bergstein, Ellen Doss, Arthur Neal Frecht, David Goldfarb, Alan Hirschfield, Susan Herman, David Holmes, Jeffrey Joel, Stephen Capello, Phil Colaney, Emmy Knobloch, David Kornblum, Hillary Leberfeld, Jan Levinson, Herb Lipp, Frank Londy, Sally Mortensen, Ronald Novak, Larry Nussdorf, Larry Reeser, Ron Sapel, Eli Sedlin, Scott Stachel, Elliot Sussman, David Turkier, Elaine Wolfenson, James Wolfenson. May their memories be for a blessing. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 44, and I ask that we rise. And we're recited together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei rabba ve'amad yivrach yivutei ve'amich malchutei v'chayechon ve'omechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman charit ve'ur amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam olmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yizba'ar v'yitmamam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei d'kusham breichu, le'elam mimko birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, v'amiran be'amav yinu amen. Yehei shlam hara l'amim shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'emru amen. V'aseh shalom b'mroma, hu ya'aseh shalom. ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
What do we got for announcements? We got Torah starting tomorrow at 10.
Torah starting tomorrow. We don't have a major Jewish holiday until Hanukkah. How is that even possible after the run we've had?
I know, it's been a lot.
So Torah study tomorrow at 10, Shabbat next week at 6 o'clock. Is that right, Ingrid? I think we're at 6 o'clock consistently now. Judd's going to be dialing in from Israel. And Torah study then the following Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Josh, are you going to be playing guitar?
No. That's why Judd's going to dial in from Israel.
I'll be up on the big screen.
Yeah, it's going to be a hybrid show.
That's right. I'll be very quiet because it'll be 3:30 in the morning. Is that right?
No, yeah, actually,
Yeah.
that's about right.
So I can't be too raucous in the apartment. Shalom Alechem is on page 49. Shalom Alechem, Malechei Hashem, Malechei Eyon, Melech Malechei Elohim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Otchem Shalom, Malechei Hashalom, Malechei Eyon. Malechei Elohim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leshalom,
מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שאתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון, מי מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Let's do a Kiddush and a Motzi.
Can we do, Judd, the extended Kiddush?
Oh yeah.
You know, so what I realized, I had this.
We don't want to quit too soon,
Yeah.
Josh.
Well, no, this is what I
We're on a
realized.
roll.
Yeah, I know, we're going, you guys, there's a reason why. So the center part of the Amidah comes from this week's Parsha, and it's about Shabbat, and that's the same thing that we say as the lead into Kiddush. It's the same prayer, so it comes,
Awesome.
it comes full circle. But let's grab some wine. I'm just looking to extend, Judd, just
I
looking
know.
to
Well,
extend.
we don't want to rush through anything.
No, we don't want to do.
Grab your wine if you've got it in the Zumagog. What page is it on?
So it is, give me one sec. It's on the top of 28. So this is, great, just be awesome. So on the top of page 28, before we say the blessing over the wine, on Shabbat we say this little ditty, which is also the middle prayer in the Amidah.
Okay.
Yeah. You see it, Judd? Vayechulu on the top of 28. Vayechulu.
Yeah. Shemaim.
Yeah. Vayechulu hashamayim ba'aretz v'chol tzva'am v'chol Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa v'yishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa v'yivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'kadesh oto ki bo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'aso. Sorry. Ramanan, Baratai. And then we can go from there, Judd.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kadsho b'ahava u'ratzon hihilanu zikron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila mikolei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu b'charta ve'atanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava u'ratzon hinhatanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat. Chaim. And now the motzi over the bread, and then we will have done all of our religious duties.
All of our religious duties will be complete for now.
Unless we do the blessing after we eat, but we'll see. All right, so our tradition is to get connected to the challah. Either touch it yourself or connect to someone who's touching it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. I'm gonna pull. You gotta hold. Yeah.
It's so tame without any children here.
Shabbat shalom.
What do you mean, no children? Watch these guys.
Yeah. We're making up for the kids by being
We have
short.
we have a lot of work to do to make up for it.
Feel free to unmute
You're making good progress.
Zoomers and say Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for joining us. And thanks again, Carl, for a wonderful
That was quite good.
Debar Torah.
You're welcome. It was good to see you all.
Good to see
Thank
you.
you, Carl.
Shabbos.
In song together. Carl, thank you.
Thank you, Carl. That was beautiful.
Carl, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Carl. That was
Thank
lovely.
you.
Really, really nice. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, Carl. That was so philosophical.
Oh dear. Well, you know, it's very smoky here in Seattle, and that may be.
Bye, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom,
Bye.
everybody.
Smoking, yeah.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good night.
I miss you all.
Where's
Bye.
Carl?
Really? Like 300, whatever the metric is?
Is Carl,
What's it from?
is these remarks a one-off fresh for tonight?
What's that?
We were
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
blessed this summer.
Or was that from a book that he has spent years writing? Because,
Carl's just like that.
Carl's brilliant.
OMG, I mean,
He,
there's a phrase for it, but
we had, bye
Shabbat
Barb. Good to
shalom,
see you.
everyone.
Shabbat
Good night.
shalom. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Haley, nice to see your picture.
Shabbat shalom, Haley and family.
All right, I'm gonna close it down.
Okay, closing it down.